So, hi guys, Psalm 27 is what we're looking at today. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? I mean, we could say, since God has my back, I don't need to sweat it. I can trust him. The Lord is the defense of my life. Whom shall I dread? And I just, that's just such a confidence and a confidence booster. That God is actually inclined toward and interested in our daily issues and our lives, and he's so faithful. In verse 4, it says, "One thing I have asked from the Lord, and that I shall seek, that I may dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life, to behold the beauty of the Lord and to meditate in his temple." So this is the priority of our lives. Prioritization is so important that we keep the big thing the big thing. And in our Christian faith, our walk with God, that's the deal, is really truly connecting with him and walking with him. And this is what David keyed into in those earlier days prior to Jesus. He was looking for the Messiah to come, and he did come, and it's Jesus, and he's coming back. And in the meantime, he was yearning for and thirsting for a relationship with his Creator. And he had from childhood, a childlike faith, and he carried it into his adulthood. Not childishness, not immature, but really a reliance. Children, they're born and they're relying on their parents. And when we're born again, that's the life of faith, is reliance on God. It's, hey, God, you're my God. You have my back. I trust you. Your promises are true. Your word is true. You're faithful. I get it. You're the Lord that heals us. I receive that. You're the Lord that never changes. Man, I'm glad, because the circumstances can be really upsetting. And in fact, he said there that though a host encamp around me, evildoers, adversaries, he's talking about, he had a lifetime of that. And yet the thing that he really wanted was what he said here in verse 5, "For in the day of trouble, when all that hassle comes, you will conceal me in your tabernacle. In the secret place of his tent, he will hide me. He will lift me up on a rock." And I think about the secret place. And I think about Proverbs, the 18th chapter and the 10th verse. And I wrote it down here. It says, "The name of the Lord is a high tower. The righteous run into it, and they are safe." Psalm 17, verse 8 says it this way. It says, "Hide me in the shadow of your wings." And that goes right along with Psalm 91, verse 1 through 10. In fact, I think I'll read that, because Psalm 91 is always helpful. "He who dwells," that we're talking about the secret place, "in the shelter of the Most High." The King James, I think, says secret place of the Most High, "will abide in the shadow of the Almighty. I will say to the Lord, my refuge and my fortress, my God, in whom I trust. For it is he who delivers you from the snare of the trapper and from the deadly pestilence. He will cover you with his pinions, and under his wings you may seek refuge." Now, this morning, I was out having a cup of coffee and reading my Bible, brought the dog out, put him on a leash, and there was a bird that was chirping, and I guessed it was an alarm signal, because there's a nest right over our porch light, right behind the chair I was sitting in. And I think that was maybe the mother bird, I'm guessing, of this particular species. The eggs have hatched, but the birds haven't fledged or flown the coop yet. So this thing was just chirping. It was beautiful singing. But then all of a sudden, another bird came, I'm pretty sure it was the male, and swooped on the dog. And I thought it was really interesting. And I thought about how God is the defense of our life. He has that inclination to protect us. And just the idea that we get under the shadow of his wing. I watch these birds take care of their young and just go back and forth into the woods to retrieve food for them and protect them and even guard against, creatures that are hundreds of times larger than them, and I think about how good God is in the secret place. And I think about under the shadow of his wing, we'll seek refuge. That's that secret place. That's that intimate place. That's that amazing protective place. And I'll close with this. I had, when I was in college, I was working a clerk job at the mall, and there was, I was selling clothing, and then there was a pet shop in the mall. And they had just received a shipment of Amazon blue-fronted parrots. And they were little babies. They were little chicks, and they didn't even have all their full feathers yet. So I put one on layaway. I started making payments because they were not cheap for my budget. It was, quite an investment. And I went up there every day on my break and at lunch, and I would go up there, and they'd let me hold that little bird as that bird grew in their perfect environment. And it got bigger, and it got attached to me. And I remember I was holding that bird, and I was meditating on Psalm 91 about being under the shadow of his wings. And under his wings, you may seek refuge. Well, I noticed when the bird would open up its expansive, big set of wings as it grew, underneath, right up there at the crook of its wing, it had just downy feathers, and it was really warm and really soft. And I got a vivid revelation of being under the shadow of the wing. I've watched this there's a species called killdeer, and they'll put their wing over their young and shield them. And God does too. He fiercely is protective. I don't like the Canada geese because I've been attacked by them, but hey, the reason they're protective is because they're fierce about taking care of their young. That's the issue. And they happen to be gigantic. It's like being attacked by a 25-pound butterball, turkey that's mad, with a like a neck with a hammer on the top. But when it goes to God protecting us, he's fierce like that. He's our protector. He's the shade on our right hand. He's the glory and the lifter of our head. And I just want to encourage you to stay in Psalm 27. We're going to get into it more this week. And I just pray that you enjoy the secret place of the Most High, and you abide under the shadow of the Almighty, and your soul has rest. And whatever you're going through, man, I believe there are promises. I know God has a plan, and you can trust him, cast your worries and your cares on him, because he definitely cares for you. God bless you.